The Arizona Cardinals made a lot of moves today. Let's get you updated. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals throughout the entirety of the 2024 season, so subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. All right, everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's go and talk about all the updates here from the Cardinals that Jonathan Gannon provided us today. Now, we already did the Week 8 preview, Cardinals versus Dolphins. It's already live on the channel, so go ahead and make sure you check that out after this video once you're caught up to date with everything Cardinals news, right? Jonathan Gannon met with the media today. Now, there was a couple things that we already knew, already posted it on social media, but it's already been confirmed here by Jonathan Gannon. Now, the Dennis Gardeck thing, very, very unfortunate, right? The Barbarian, a fan favorite, a guy that we really were leaning heavily on with the idea of him being edge rusher number one for the Cardinals. Very unfortunate that the confirmation of him tearing his, ACL, and him being done for the season. Very unfortunate. Prayers up, and let's see what the Cardinals decide to do in terms of either next man up, or maybe Monty decides to wake up and bring in a talented player or two to kind of help out our defensive line that's been struggling because we're just getting injury after injury after injury, and the front office is not really doing very much to kind of help out this Arizona Cardinal defense to negate any injuries that we had suffered so far. So he's confirmed that. I already gave you my spiel and how I feel about it on a live yesterday, so we're not going to dive into that too much, but we also got some information on Christian Jones, which is a rookie tackle that he looked decent in preseason. So I think, with what Jonathan Gannon has been seeing so far from him, he's talking a lot of, glowing remarks and great things about him. So I don't know if it's going to be a big role for him yet. I think Kelvin Beacham's going to remain that right tackle for now, but maybe for the future, we're looking into getting Christian Jones to be that right tackle for us. But with what we do know right now, being the fact that he was, going through some bumps and bruises, he's now been activated to the 53-man roster for the Cardinals. So maybe he's going to get a bigger role than we suspect him to, right? So there's that. Now let's dive into Darius Robinson, obviously one of the big names out there that everybody's kind of chomping at the bit, kind of waiting to see the Cardinals decide to activate him to the 53-man roster. Now, that 21-day window that we actually ended up opening here in the beginning of October, I believe it was like the 6th, the 7th, or the 8th, somewhere around that time frame where the Cardinals, open up that window. It's coming to an end here pretty soon, or at least within, the end of this week or the beginning of next week. So it's coming very, very close that the Cardinals are going to make a decision on either A, they're going to activate him to the 53, and if not, if the 21-day window gets, kind of, if we're living in a world that we're sitting at the 22-day, then the Cardinals need to put him back on the IR, and that's going to be for the entirety of the 2024 season. Now, obviously, we do not want that. With what we've been hearing, it seems like he is trending in the right direction and that he's ready. It almost kind of seemed like he might have been a go last week, but I don't know if you guys do know, but Darius Robinson did lose his mother, so that might have been a thing where the Cardinals kind of stepped in and said, hey, take another week. We got this time frame for you, so take it. So that might have been where the Cardinals were leaning on. Let's hope that the Cardinals do decide to activate him in the 53. And here's the thing. I don't think even if they activate him, he probably won't have a big workload. And I mean by big workload, like 80-90%. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. The Cardinals are very, very good with switching out a lot of defensive linemen, making sure there's different personnel, making sure there's a lot of people that kind of split reps amongst each other to avoid injury. I guess it's really unfortunate because we are still getting injured, right? It's one of those things where our defensive linemen have been just riddled with injuries. So many people on IR. And on top of that, our right side of the offensive line kind of dealing with that same issue as well. So our trenches, in terms of injuries, the injuries haven't been kind to the Cardinals this year at all, which is very, very unfortunate. So let's see what happens with Darius. Hope he's really close. I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief when the whole debut is over. We hope that he can be a big impactful player. Nobody's expecting like multiple sacks, but what we're hoping for is obviously helping stop the run, and then on top of that, maybe getting a sack. But the sacks can wait. It's going to be his very first game coming in, in a regular season NFL game, so it's going to take some time. But the big thing I want to talk about here is that the Cardinals added another quarterback to their roster. Now, not 53-man roster, but to their practice squad. I don't know if you guys were aware, but Desmond Ridder, I know that's kind of a name we don't really want to talk about it anymore, but Desmond Ridder was released by the Cardinals, but we re-signed him back to the practice squad. Now, what happened was that the Raiders actually plucked them away from our practice squad, and I believe that they have made him a quarterback in their 53. So that kind of left us in a spot where, hey, we need a quarterback for our practice squad. So this isn't one of those moves where the Cardinals were like, oh, I love Anthony Brown, we got to get him. As of right now, this seems more of a move that we needed to kind of fill in a roster spot, specifically that practice squad where obviously you need a quarterback there. So they looked around. We did get word from John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports yesterday that's saying that expect the Cardinals to add a quarterback, today, which breaking news, I guess depending how you feel about breaking news, right? Quarterback practice squad guy. So, but yeah, we did kind of know that the Cardinals were in the market for a quarterback. And then today, the news dropped that it's Anthony Brown. Now, looking a little deeper in terms of who is Anthony Brown, it doesn't really seem like he's had a lot of playing time within regular season action, but he's still 26 years old. Like he's pretty young, right? And then in terms of college, he spent some time with Boston College from 2016 to 2019, spent a year at Oregon, and then he went undrafted, right? So we're not talking about a guy that was drafted in the NFL draft, but spent some time with the Baltimore Ravens in 2022. And I believe, if I can remember correctly, I do remember him actually starting a game or two when I believe Huntley went down and then Lamar went down. So I don't think he was ever a number 2, but he might have had some sort of regular season time playing. But for the most part, we're talking about a guy that's, been a practice squad guy, right? So in 2022, with the Ravens, and it seems like in 2023 he was not with anybody. But in 2024, it seems like he did spend some time with the Raiders, either in their offseason or in their practice squad, and then the Buffalo Bills, the kind of same thing, right? Where it's the offseason or their practice squad is what they're dealing with. So this is definitely not one of those moves that, move the needle, but like that's kind of what we've been dealing with, right? In terms of like this Monty Austin-Fort regime in this front office, they have yet to make a big splash move for the Cardinals. And it's one of those things, right? Like, I don't know what multiple people expect, but like I don't think anybody expected the Cardinals to be in a situation that we're in. But actually, the more surprising thing is not that we're 3-4. The more surprising thing is that the NFC West is open, right? Like that's the more surprising thing to me. Like when I was doing my prediction, I did say that the Cardinals were going to lose a lot of these beginning games, but like we were somehow going to go back to 500. Now, is it going to be the Miami Dolphins game? We don't know, right? But what's more surprising to me is that this NFC West is not good, that we're sitting at the number 2 spot at 3-4. So I know there's a lot of Cardinal fans that would love the idea for the Cardinals to potentially go after a big time star player like a Myles Garrett or maybe even a Max Crosby. I don't think that's in the books for the Cardinals. And if it is, man, that would be huge. But I think I'm just looking for a swing. I'm just looking for bringing somebody that can help out, right? Now, obviously, we're seeing the Seattle Seahawks making some moves. They're sitting at the number 1 spot right now with literally 1 game difference, right? They're sitting at 4-3, where the Cardinals are sitting at 3-4. So, they only got 1 more win than us. So, it's crazy that the Cardinals are kind of sitting back and not doing anything. I would love the Cardinals to do so, but as of right now, the Monty Austin-Fort way doesn't really seem that's kind of the move. And even for the people out there saying we're not a Super Bowl team or this is not our year, who cares? The Cardinals could potentially win a NFC West division. That's crazy. On its own, the Cardinals can win an NFC West division title. Isn't that good, right? Why not take the opportunity to do that? Obviously, we might not be a Super Bowl team. We might not go deep into the playoffs, but if we can win the division, guess what? We're in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, so why not? Why not take a swing? I know we're riddled with injuries. I know there's a lot of question marks heading into 2025, but why not take a swing? At least coming from my perspective here. What are your guys' thoughts here on these most recent moves with Darius Robinson, Christian Jones, Anthony Brown Jr.? Let me know in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.